Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is Mike. I'd like to recommend two films which may even now be playing at your local multiplex. I don't go out and see a lot of new movies anymore, but for some reason I did. I saw two in rapid succession. I pay attention to one of my local film critics, someone that I actually respect quite a bit, and I kind of follow his recommendations. So he was reasonably positive about both of these films. So I will tell you what they are. And the first one is called Friendship, which actually came out in 2024. I don't know why it took so long to get here, but directed by Andrew DeYoung. I guess that was his directorial debut. Don't know anything else about him. Starring Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd, and Kate Mara. Now, I know who Paul Rudd and Kate Mara are. I've seen them in other films, but I had no idea who Tim Robinson was. I had to look him up on Wikipedia, found out that he's done quite a bit of television. So a lot of you who are more in touch with modern cinema and television than I am, you might know who Tim Robinson is. Anyway, I forgot to write down the character names. Sorry. So it's just going to be the actors' names. Tim plays a middle-aged guy married to Kate Mara. They have a teenage son, and there's some family drama that I won't share, which adds to the storyline. And so Tim meets a new neighbor, just moved into the house down the road, played by Paul Rudd. And Paul Rudd is a very charismatic guy. Uh, he's a TV weatherman. He plays in a local punk band. It just has a lot of cool things going on. And the two men become fast friends, very unlikely friends because they seem so different. And Tim Robinson just kind of starts hero worshiping Paul Rudd, and he wants to be like him. He wants to be liked by him. And there's nothing romantic or sexual going on, but he really wants to. It's just like a hero worship, this guy. And so anyway, unfortunately, Tim plays a guy who is socially awkward and is always managing to say and do the wrong thing at the wrong time, even with his family. His wife, later on in the film, they're having an argument and she calls him a narcissist, which is a very apt description. He's very much self absorbed. And anyway, so this fast friendship starts out with a real uh, crazy incident where Paul Rudd shows him this underground tunnel in the city they live in, which leads into the city hall. So they break into the building, and it's just a crazy thing to do. And anyway, so Tim was so energized by this friendship, but he manages to screw it up by doing the wrong thing. I won't tell you what it is because it's a fascinating series of events. So Paul Rudd says, I'm no longer comfortable with this friendship. We need to cool it, which leads to not only a lot of unhappiness for Tim, but it leads to even more inappropriate behavior, very uncomfortable things to watch somebody do on the screen. I was very empathetic toward this guy. I kept wanting to just shout out saying, "Don't do it! Don't go there because it's going to make it worse." Apparently, there was a lot of humor in the film because people behind me were just laughing during most of it. I didn't laugh that much. Um, I found it very disturbing and kind of cringeworthy in a lot of scenes. But I liked it because it was so full of surprises. It took me in directions I had no idea they were going to go in. And the ending was crazy. And I was expecting something else. I didn't get it. But as I said, it's well written, well acted, totally unique. So I would give this a definite thumbs up. All right. Now, the second film, my first film from 2025. This is The Ritual, directed by David Modell. Couldn't find anything else about him. Al Pacino stars in this film as a Catholic priest who was called into a parish to perform an exorcism on a young woman. And this is based on a true incident that happened back in 1928 in Kansas. And he's assisted by the priest of the parish, a young priest played by Dan Stevens, and Abigail Cowan plays the victim. She's very good. I'd never heard of her. Don't really know if I've heard of Dan Stevens, quite frankly. Uh, I did. I wasn't familiar with any of the other actors really, other than Al Pacino. And the film is only 98 minutes long. It's very focused. it sort of jumps into the storyline very quickly and just methodically moves along as day one of The Exorcist, day two, day three, all the things that they do in this ritual. And in a way, it's kind of understated. I couldn't help but thinking, of course, about the 1973 classic, if you like that movie, film The Exorcist, which I've seen, saw it when it first came out after reading the novel. The novel is the most terrifying thing I've ever read. But um, this is really an understated kind of film. It has some visceral moments, which you might expect from what is happening to this young woman and the way she reacts to the prayers, the way she reacts to the holy water being thrown on her, things like that. But it's not nearly as disgusting as you would expect. So if that's what you're looking for, then you might be disappointed. It's not really a horror film, although it certainly has all the atmosphere and the tension of a horror film. But I'm not really sure what they were going for here. I don't know if they were trying to make it into a horrific film, but it does have a thriller aspect to it. But it's more of a methodical case study, you know? And I guess what I appreciate about it is the fact that as a practicing Catholic, it's very respectful of the religion, very respectful of what the priest is doing. The priest comes off as a good, both priests really come off as good human beings uh, who are just trying to do what is right according to their beliefs. And the young priest is having a crisis of faith, so that adds to the drama. But Al Pacino is he plays it straight on. You know, I was actually very pleased by his performance. And in a way, he's not the main character of the story. I would say that the uh, the younger priest, played by Dan Stevens, is really more the focus of the story, and certainly the young woman. But good acting by all concerned. I didn't like the way the film looked. It had a handheld camera thing going on, which can be okay in a lot. I mean, in the Blair Witch Project, but in this film, they had not only the handheld camera, but they had very quick editing cuts where some of the scenes lasted maybe a second, and then they switched to another one, then to another one. To me, that doesn't add to the film. It doesn't add to the story. It takes away from it. I can't concentrate. Maybe that's the point. It also, the film had a lot of darkness to it, and I don't mean the darkness as in imaginative cinematography and camera work and lighting. No, it just had low lighting. And I think a lot of these modern cinematographers, like the guy who did Nosferatu, I think they believe that if they just turn down the power on the camera, that they're creating a dark, mysterious atmosphere. No, you're just making it hard to see the movie. So that was a disappointment to me. And I've seen other films like that in the last few years, notably one that I detested, a film called um, A Haunting in Venice, which I did not see in the theater. I picked it up as a blind buy and watched it at home, and it was horrible. That's again, that's another video. But anyway, this film doesn't seem to be doing very well. I checked on Wikipedia just a few hours ago, and it's only made $1.5 million, so I guess it's not very popular. It's only 98 minutes long. It doesn't belabor its point, but I don't know. It was okay. As I said, nothing new here, no new ground, and I don't think there will be any Oscar nominations for anybody in this movie. Certainly not the cinematographer. So anyway, so let me know what you think, and I will hopefully go out and see another movie someday.